Let's get it over here. So we got 7 participants right now. Let me just put another message in the main channel. AMA starting with Ken. All right, guys. So I just want to thank you all for joining us here for another XDC Insider AMA. I know this is a little bit of a different time than normal for us. Usually we do this like a little bit earlier on the weekdays, but we're very, very honored to have the members of PIN here with us today to talk about their project. I'm pretty bullish on it, and I'm sure you all will be as well once they have a chance to talk a little bit more about it. So I guess, guys, I'll let you introduce yourselves to the crew.
Yeah, sure. And once again, thank you so much for inviting me to this AMA. We really do appreciate it. So on the line today, I have myself. My name is Craig. I'm the CEO of Pay It Now PIN Token. And joining us also is Jet, who is the CTO of Pay It Now PIN Token. So I thought I'd just start off the AMA, just introduction to who we are as a team, just so you can get a better understanding of what we're all about. So, and also to get a better understanding on who you're potentially investing in. Can you guys hear me loud and clear? Everything's okay?
I hear you just fine.
Yep, great. Okay. So just to give a little background about myself, I've spent the last 22 years in commercial aviation, operating as a captain and a check-in training captain for large international airlines. Over that time in my aviation career, I've had the privilege of setting up quite a few different training companies that provided airline pilots to large international airlines. And while setting those up, I was basically the CEO and director of these companies and a shareholder. So that's my background in the realms of being a CEO for companies. I also contract to a flight simulator company, and they build high-end flight simulator devices for airlines all around the world. And my role there is a project research and development on their software. So that's my IT background kind of thing there. I'm also an investor in for some years now in crypto markets. So I'm an investor. I'm an Ethereum miner like a lot of other people. And I'm also a day trader, although day trading has not really worked out too well for me recently. So I'll try to exit that game a little bit. About a year and a half ago, I was retrenched from my position as an airline pilot, and I found myself finding some pretty massive life choices or determining some life choices. And one was to move back to my home country, New Zealand. And the other decision I made was to exit the aviation sector altogether, just to look at other revenue streams and also to just keep my family in New Zealand. I have 2 young children, so I really want to keep them back in New Zealand so they can have a better life than being an expat shipped all around the world. So when I came back to New Zealand, I met up with a long-term friend of mine, Jet, who is now our CTO of PIN Token. And we put our heads together and we decided that we'll come up with a few business ideas to make some revenue. A couple of the ideas we came up with, we're actually producing a cockpit application for pilots at the moment. And that will allow a pilot to go into these applications and navigate around the 3D cockpit and find out more information about the aircraft they're flying. But we're also looking at augmented reality as part of that application as well. And the second project we came up with before coming up with PIN is we are now selling virtual reality flight training devices to airlines all around the world. We've got a few customers so far, but that's another exciting technology branch that we're branching out in at the moment. So before I explain too much more about PIN, what I'll do is I'll hand you over now to Jet, our CTO, and he'll give you a little background on his IT side of things, which is probably a lot more interesting to most of you in this group than my background. Jet?
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Craig. My name is Jit, obviously. I'm the CTO for PIN Token, as Craig explained. I am also a commercial pilot for the last 12, 13 years. But I've also been, during that time, as most people do, I've been having side projects in web development. Started out by learning PHP with simple open source programs, then moved on to Node.js. I've been working with Forum Software for the past 10 years, open source software. I've been working with WordPress projects. I did a big project in Australia. I don't know how many of you know of the Gamers Group. I was initially one of the first people to work on that as well. Um, and I've been in the crypto game for about 3 or 4 years now. I've been an Ethereum miner, same as Craig. I actually got him into Ethereum mining for the past year now. So yeah, that's a bit of my background as well. I'll pass it back to Craig to tell you more about the project.
Thank
Great,
you.
thanks, Jet. Appreciate it. Okay, so how PIN came to fruition was a little bit of an interesting story, really. Myself and Jet are involved in an investors group in Christchurch, New Zealand. We have a monthly meeting and a dinner. During one of our dinners we had out, we overheard a group of people talking about their website and how they had 2 million users per month, but they had no way of really rewarding their users other than the traditional status rewards. And they wanted a better way to reward their users. And I jumped into a conversation, and straight away I said, well, why don't you start rewarding your users in crypto? That way your users can earn crypto, they can cash it out to other cryptos or to fiat currencies and actually earn either crypto or fiat for their hard-earned time on your website, helping you out. So this website owner, his eyes light up and loves the idea, but he had a few caveats. And one of the caveats was that he didn't have any time to, one, implement a system, two, run a system or moderate a system. Me being the optimistic again, I jumped in and said, well, hold on. How about we design a automated process for you so that you don't have to do any work? And I turn around and I look at Jet, and Jet's got a surprised look on his face, as if, oh, what have I just done? I've created a lot of work for us. So anyway, we walk away from the situation. We go to our office and we sit around a table. And Jet, being the extremely intelligent person that he is, he came up with a 3-step process to implement an automatic system for website owners and forum users. So the start of the first stage of that is a system called URI, and URI stands for Universal Reward Interface. It's basically a module-based system that can be implemented on any website without the website owner having to do any work. And what URI does is it communicates directly with the database to support a vast range of architects and types to fetch user data directly and communicate to our second stage in the process. So what URI will do is it'll check the user is online, it'll check the user is true and correct, and it will check how many reward points that user is trying to cash out at that time. And then from there, we have a second stage in the process, and we've named this system GERT, which stands for Give Users Reward Tokens. So GERT will go away and have a look at the PIN database and go, okay, this website has so many pins allocated. Yes, it does have enough pins, so then I can give that amount of pins that user is trying to cash out directly to that user, so then they can cash it out to other cryptos, fiat currency, or just hold. Or GERT will come back and say, well, no, that website doesn't have enough free allocated pins. So this system that we're implementing is free for website owners, but we give them an allocation of pins subject to their traffic and their throughput. So GERT will come back and say, okay, well, that website doesn't have enough pins, and talk to URI, and URI will say, well, no, you can't cash this out at the moment. You need to wait another week until that website has free allocated pins again. Or GERT will come back to the pin dev team and say, okay, this website doesn't have enough pins allocated. You should contact them basically to see if they want to purchase more pins, or they just want to wait for their free allocation in the following week. We understand that most websites will probably purchase more pins at that time to keep their users happy, and the price of pins will be quite low to start off with, obviously, before the initial pump. So the third stage in the process to completely automate the system is we plan to have custom coded plugin systems that a website owner could go onto our website, download that plugin, and then simply upload it to their root folder and the system is fully automated. It takes any work away from the website owner, and all they have to do is basically say to us if they want to buy more pins, we can allocate them more pins. So that's the three-step process in automating the system. We've got a lot more on our roadmap, and that goes into a loyalty system. We're actually in talks with a website at the moment that want to have a loyalty system in place, much like credit card rewards. You know, you spend $100 on their website, and instead of getting the credit card rewards, you'll get PIN rewards instead, which you can cash out again, and yada yada. So that's the second stage in the whole system that we're creating. And then the third one is we definitely want to get into transactional sales. And we're also in talks with a couple of websites at the moment that offer a buy, sell, and exchange type of website. So then we will become the transactional token on that website. Just moving on briefly into the next parts of the roadmap, I'll just briefly touch on, like every other token in the world, we want to create a wallet. But, oh, excuse me, I'll just turn off my phone. So continuing on, that's going to look great in the recording later when I shell it out to my community. But anyway, so next in the process, we're looking at a wallet, but a little bit of point of difference for our wallet. We initially trying to target New Zealand-based projects and then expanding into Pacific Islands in the Australian region, just to keep it in the Southern Hemisphere to start off with. So that's a little bit about our point of difference in our wallet. But then our exchange, we're actually in initial talks at the moment to create what we are calling PIN swap. And that will be more focused on Southern Hemisphere projects again, especially moving into the Pacific Islands where there's a great need for crypto in these developing countries, which we're trying to communicate with at the moment. But our PIN swap will be powered by PiSwap. And I'm not sure if you guys are all familiar. I know most of you may be that PIN swap is a development from Dev Team 6 that have created, Dev Team 6 have created a Moonforce launch platform that PIN is going to be launching on, and also the new PIN swap, which is similar to Pancake Swap, but it's got a much more unique router system in place, which just sets it that level above any other decentralized exchange. And then moving on before we open the floor for questions, we're also in the process of talking to several other New Zealand projects about creating a New Zealand-based blockchain. There's definitely that gap in the market here. And same with an exchange also. There's such a gap in the New Zealand market and the Pacific Island market. Our current system is very extremely difficult to cash crypto into fiat currency. It's slow, it's unreliable, and it's expensive. So that's why we plan to build the exchange and then later on build the blockchain. And just one other thing, we are in talks with a centralized exchange at the moment, but just in the early stages of talks to get onto their exchange too. So that's a little bit about PIN. Tokenomics wise, I'll quickly briefly mention about that. So our minted tokens will be 100 million PIN tokens. We're looking at a token sale program of 25%. We've just rerun the numbers today to try to get a pre-sale. Initially, we were looking at 100 BNB, but as a soft cap, but now we've increased that soft cap up to 300 BNB. And with a hard cap, initially we're looking at 200, but now we're looking at 500. So we've really run the numbers today to make sure this is going to work, and we've come up with a solution. Liquidity pool holdings, we have 41%. We are doing a private sale, 14%. However, that private sale is focused at our investors that have helped us along the way, and more friends and family at this stage. Site owners pool, we have a site owners pool which is 10% of our tokenomics. Now what that pool is basically it allows us to distribute pins to website owners for free. And in our transactions, we have actually 1% transaction that tops up that site owners pool, so we can regenerate that pool so we can allow more pins to go out to our website owners. We have a reserve fund of 4%, which is undetermined at the moment, and an operational fund of 1%. For the team and founders, we decided on having dev wallets of a total of 5% of the holdings, but myself and Jet have actually put a portion of our dev wallets before locking our dev wallets back into the operational fund as well, just to keep the whole process moving along. For transaction fees, we're slightly different from most other tokens. Most other tokens, as everyone probably know, they charge a transaction fee on the buy, the transfer, and also the sale. So if you set 10% as a transaction fee, a person buying that token can lose a total of 30%, from the time they buy or send something to another wallet and then sell again. So PIN have focused on a transaction fee on the sale end, just to promote holding PIN and just to keep the transaction fees down. So how the transaction fees work for us, we've got a liquidity pool of 3%. So 3% goes to liquidity pool. 1% is distributed to holders in reflections. We have a 1.9% operational use transaction fee, a 0.1 charity fee, and site owners pool is 1% and a 1% burn. So that's our tokenomics, our transaction fees, and a little bit about PIN. I'll just open up the floor to Jet just for a while, just in case he wants to top up anything I've said, because he's the brains behind the idea, of course. Jet.
Okay, I'll just elaborate a little bit more on how Craig spoke about our module system, Yuri. Basically, the cornerstone of how everything will work in terms of website owners. So, as Craig mentioned, the Yuri system was designed so that any website owner in the world can choose any website that they have, irrelevant of what script or form software or site software they're using. Common ones like Laravel, WordPress, but there's custom coded software that people have just generated themselves, frameworks that are so minute, micro frameworks, one page frameworks, database based frameworks, anything. Basically, the idea is Yuri should be able to adapt to any website based on the fact that the website owner can contact us. If we have a solution already in place, then we give them the solution immediately. If not, we can implement either a very basic solution in which the user already has a reward system on their website, and all we're doing is exchanging their reward tokens for PIN token. Or if they do not have a reward system in place, they will be given a reward system, which Yuri will be able to handle. Craig also mentioned the loyalty system that we're just in the early stages of producing. Basically, loyalty system will be a little different to the reward system and how they award users based on either time and frequency of visit. Other than that, we're open to questions now, so that we can answer any questions you may have.
Guys, thank you both very much for going over PIN. That was a very good introduction and thorough analysis of what really is offered by PIN. Very, very ambitious project, to say the very least. I mean, if I'm hearing correctly, it sounds like, we hear about all these tokens that are looking to be a transfer of funds between one industry and another. This seems like that, but just where it could be used for every industry. Is that pretty fair to say?
Exactly, yes. We
Yeah, 100%. So we're not limited to a single industry in any way. So we'll have the ability eventually to be brought onto any website around the world. So we have a few partners already. We've partnered initially with some of the more developing websites at the moment, just to implement our test bed situation. So at the moment, we're partnered with peercrypto.net, which is a newly formed forum. They don't have a lot of users yet, and we plan to increase the amount of users, but we've gone with that type of situation first, just to try to test our product. We're also partnered with another company which we haven't put anything on their system, which is Crypto Trader NZ, which is going to be a buy, sell, and exchange platform. Also partnered with a company called shareme.to, and they offer cloud-based storage. So you can see how we're going out in our diversity here, and we're talking with an actual New Zealand butcher company. So he wants to buy and sell meats and have the ability to trade in crypto or have purchase in crypto. And then we are extending to retail outlets as well, so that we'll have a system as a point of sale system. And we do plan to do the whole payment gateway at the moment, but probably looking at more of a third party option before we start getting into coding things like coin payment options, but which is probably extremely difficult. Do you want to add to that, mate?
Yeah, so the idea is that any industry can use our token as a reward system, as a loyalty system, and eventually a payment system as well. The payment gateway, obviously, it's in our roadmap, but it's maybe 6 to 8 months down the track. We will, however, be launching with a very basic system where you can use PIN as a payment system on websites as well. Obviously, at that point, it'll just be a simple wallet to wallet transfer that Gert will probably handle, because payment gateways, as Craig so eloquently put it, is very complicated. A system like coin payments will take months, if not years, to code. Uh, but it is on the roadmap, because, as you can probably tell, that is the goal of our project. A project called Pay It Now. We want to be a payment system as well as a reward system. However, from the tokenomics, you can probably tell we are focusing more on rewarding users, being that system where website owners can get free tokens every time, and by giving these out to users who then use them everywhere, they are actually replenishing the fund that goes back to forum or website owners, and then these get sent back to the website owners themselves. So it's a cycle that keeps repeating, basically.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. That's really cool. So it looks like you have all angles of that covered. I did one of the things you guys mentioned, and then I don't want to let everybody else ask questions as well, but you guys mentioned that you're working with Dev Team 6 and Moonforce. Dev Team 6 and Moonforce, they're close friends of ours here at XDC. We did one of their first AMAs for Moonforce and that entire platform, which is incredible to say the very least. I was ecstatic to hear that that's what PIN will be launching on. And if you just didn't mind taking a couple minutes to just go over what made you decide to go with Moonforce and what benefits that's going to have for both you and your investors.
Yeah, so I myself have been a holder of Pi since the first week Pi came out. I've been a holder and I keep buying and buying and buying. And the reason I keep buying is because I believe in the team behind Pi, Dev Team 6. I think, they're one of the best teams in the whole of crypto. They're transparent, they've got accountability for what they do. But most of all, they are encouraging new projects and they want to help us out. I was actually having a private chat with Bill last night, and he's talking about helping us every step of the way because he's so 100% committed to our project and helping us. So it was a no-brainer for us with Moonforce, and I contacted financial advisor, as you probably know, is in this group, and I started communicating with him, and dropping hints that we want to become on Moonforce, and he made it happen for us. So he made the introductories with Devin and Bill. Shortly after the introductories, we had a Zoom call with both of them, and they loved our idea, and they approved us to launch onto Moonforce as their first token. So we're really excited about that, and the options available for us to launch on this platform are just they're never ending. It's a no-brainer with all the marketing, the shillers that have been approved, the marketing pixel, the launch platform in the realms of they can help us with the code, even though we've minted a token already, but they will look after our code to make sure there's no security issues, there's nothing wrong in the code. And then the ability to move on to PiSwap, which is, I'm sure everyone knows in this group, but PiSwap have the most unique router system in the whole decentralized space at the moment. There's no need for PancakeSwap or SushiSwap anymore. Everyone will transition to PiSwap because of their unique router system. So for us, it was a no-brainer, and we're just so excited to be one of the first tokens to be able to be launched on that platform. We're ready to go right now. We're ready for pre-sales. We're ready to launch, but we're holding back because the best thing for PIN is to launch on Moonforce. We actually spoke with quite a large centralized exchange last night, just to give us a little bit of help, and that they're mentoring us as well. And what they've said is what we're doing with Moonforce is perfect. That's exactly how you want to go. You want to launch on their platform, grow from there, and then extend into the centralized exchanges.
Incredible. Yeah, that was the Moonforce platform in and of itself is just phenomenal for all users. So yeah, I'm excited to hear that you will be launching on that. When is your launch date? Will it be whitelisted? And yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, we're not privileged to the exact dates of the Moonforce platform being launched. We've had soft dates, and I believe we're going to be launching pre-sales between mid-November and late November, and that is our target. We plan to launch pre-sales prior to December. Our pre-sales, I briefly touched on this. We plan to have a soft cap of 300 BNB, hard cap of 500 BNB. We're trying to put to the community at the moment on what their maximum buy will be. We set it initially at 1 BNB just to spread out the amount of wallets and the amount of holders so that the price doesn't fluctuate too much after launch. But the community have come back to us and said, well, maybe 1 BNB is too little. Maybe we should look at 2 BNB or 5 BNB. So shortly in our Telegram, we'll put that vote to the community to see what they like best. We are 100% community based. We put all decisions for our community. So yeah, it's just how we want to run it. We want to have the same morals and attributes as Moonforce and Dev Team 6.
Excellent. Well, the community definitely appreciates that. I know the majority of tokens that I've been in where they do put questions out like that and feelers to the community and see what they want. That shows an effort of good faith from the developers, and those are the ones that go the distance. I have one last question for you, if you don't mind, before we go to everybody else.
Before a question, sorry, I didn't mention about whitelisting addresses as well. I should have just quickly briefed on that. So we will be whitelisting addresses for pre-sale. It'll be for our early community members. So anyone out there, jump into the Telegram immediately, get involved, start chatting with everyone. How we're going to whitelist the addresses too, there'll be some tasks to complete, but they'll be very basic tasks in the sense that all you'll have to do is get our ad and shill it out to some social media platforms, provide evidence of that, and then we'll list it on our forum so you can upload your evidence and your BSC address, and then that will make you a member of a whitelisted pre-sales.
Great. Very cool. Yep. Well, my last thing is you are a utility token, and a very useful utility at that. Recently, we've seen some other utility tokens that have done very well in terms of advertising, because a good utility is, I would say, the meta right now. So for advertising, what do you have on the books right now for pre-launch and after launch?
Okay, so advertisement, we haven't done a lot at this stage because we're relying on the community, especially with our whitelisted pre-sales, to go out there and shill our community. We did have a little issue with a shiller that promised us a lot of stuff and didn't come through, unfortunately, and ended up putting a couple of bots into our Telegram, which we've got rid of so far. The whole promise of bringing in real investors. At the time, we were quite new to this game with the shilling type of thing, so we're not using shillers anymore. We're going to rely on our community, but for marketing, we will definitely be on all the major platforms for advertisement soon, which will be, obviously, as an example, poocoin.app. We also have our own platforms and partners that we can advertise through. Once Peer Crypto gets up and running with a lot more members, we've got free banner space on there for life, basically. And then from there, just branching out to as many platforms as we can to market on. If that answers your question.
That does. That answers it just perfectly. So yeah, sorry to hear that about the shiller thing that went down. I know that can, when your TG gets spotted like that, especially when you were doing nothing but good faith, it could be somewhat daunting. But I'll tell you this: after this after this AMA, we'll get the right people in there. So,
I
yeah.
appreciate it.
But
And one of the things that Moonforce also offers actually is a approved Schillers network. So that's part of their platform that you can go on there and you'll have all these Schillers that have ratings to see whether they're true and correct and have the amount of followers and that like actually researched and approved.
right. Exactly. Well, so thank you so much for answering my questions. Anybody else have some questions for the guys here on PIN?
You've asked plenty and useful questions already, so on my part, I'm good. And we've joined the PIN group for a while now. Somebody else introduced it to us. Who was it?
It's been Icebreaker, I believe. I know
Yeah.
Icebreaker is very bullish on PIN
Yeah.
for a while now.
Yeah, because we've been in that,
Icebreaker
personally, I've been in that group for a while.
Yeah, Icebreaker is one of our original members of the PIN community and obviously original member of the Pi community as well. So having him over in the community with a lot of other long-term Pi holders as well is phenomenal. One of our mods is actually one of the lead mods in Moonforce as well. So, you know, we've kind of got that whole interaction between the whole systems with PIN, Moonforce, Dev Team 6 and Pi. We'll be trying to have moderators from those communities as well.
Very cool. Yeah, it was definitely Icebreaker, and he's a great person to have on your side. We're very lucky to have him part of our team as well. So yeah, it was definitely Icebreaker. So, well, let me see. Anybody else have any questions for the PIN guy?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine, Blonde.
Yeah.
Okay. And this might have been talked about, and I've fallen off the call a couple times, so I don't know if I missed it. But did y'all go over the tokenomics?
Yes, we did. Our tokenomics are on our website, but if everyone's happy, I'm fine to go over that again. I could private message you if you like, and give you those details.
Sure. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Cool. Are you in our community at the moment?
I'm sorry.
Are you part of our Telegram community for PIN?
Not yet. No, not yet. I will be.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have time to go over those tokenomics again, Frank?
Anytime, go right over him.
Yep, sure. Okay, so yeah, we might as well go over them again. So tokenomics, we have 100 million minted tokens. We have a token sale program of 25%, so that will be for our pre-sales. Liquidity pool will be made up of up to 41%. We do have private sales at 14%. That is mainly for our investors that have helped PIN in the initial stages and also friends and family. Site owners pool, which we have to distribute free pins to our website partners. We have a 10% site owners pool. Reserve fund of 4%, which we are yet to figure out what we're going to use that for, but possibly for more advertisement and staffing cost as well. Operational use is 1%, which will be for staffing and also advertisement as well. Team and founders wallets will be 5%, which I briefly touched on before that myself and Jet have actually donated a little bit of our wallets back to the operational fund before they'll get locked for a minimum of a year. Moving on to transaction fees. Unlike other tokens, we're not doing a transaction fee on buy, transfer, and sell. We will only have a transaction fee on sell to promote people to hold for longer. We've got an 8% transaction fee, which 3% of that goes automatically to a liquidity pool. 1% is distributed to other holders in reflections. 1.9% goes into an operational use for advertisement, staffing cost, and developer cost. We have a charity wallet of 0.1% and site owners pool of 1%. So that's the transactions that are a process that go back into the site owners pool to replenish that initial pool. And we have a burn of 1%.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right.
Anybody else have any questions for the gentleman of PIN?
Yeah, I think the operational use, how you labeled that kind of threw me off. I didn't know if that was the marketing, but I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah, so operational use will be for our marketing staffing and development cost as well. If that answers your question.
You cool?
Quick,
Anybody else
say
have any
your
questions?
launch. Can you hear me, Frank?
Yep, I hear you.
Yep, we can hear you.
The launch is dependent on when Moonforce is going to launch. Is that correct? So y'all kind of don't know yet.
Yeah, that's 100% correct at this stage. Moonforce are targeting a launch of November 15th for their own token. And then shortly after, they're going to open up the platform for tokens where we can go into their dashboard and start getting everything ready for launch. They've kind of assured us that it's going to happen prior to December the 1st. So our pre-sales will happen between November the 15th and December the 1st. And hopefully we can get it as close as possible to November 15th. But just bear in mind, it could drag out a couple of weeks past that date.
Sure. Okay, cool.
Like we are ready to go right now, but we've had this conversation as well with me and Jet. Like, do we start the pre-sales on another platform or do we just wait for Moonforce? And it's a no-brainer for us. We want to wait to Moonforce to be that first token to be available on Moonforce as well, which is obviously going to promote our token a lot.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to it here. Thank you guys for joining us. Do you have any closing things you want to say to the community? And you can have it in this recording.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And once again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. We really appreciate it. And thank you, Icebreaker. I don't think he's listening at the moment because it's 4 a.m. in Dubai. And we do apologize for the timing of this as well. We've had a couple of AMAs that we've had to do recently, which has pushed us out to actually Sunday in New Zealand, Sunday afternoon. So we are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to keep this project going. There will be a few competitions coming up in our Telegram group as well. We do have an exciting one coming up called the Pin Games. I can't tell you too much about that at the moment, but one lucky person, after completing a few basic tasks over a series of a month or so, will become a whale in our token. So that's one of the things we're looking at. And obviously the pre-sales, to be whitelisted in the pre-sales, it will require shillers to go out and shill pin token to the community. And that's how easy it will be.
Very cool. Alrighty, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and we will conclude this AMA. I'll go ahead and I'll send you a copy of it. But again, thank you for being with us. I look forward to your launch. Super bullish on it. And thanks again.
Thank you so much. And look, if there's anything we can do for your team as well, whether or not you want to start us shilling your group, I know it's quite a close private group because of people that you trust. But anything we can offer to you, just let us know.
I very much appreciate it. We actually are working on growing the public and the call side of things. So if you ever want to shout us out, feel free to go ahead. But yeah, thanks again.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Alrighty.
All right. We'll leave you guys there. And once again, thanks for the opportunity. And if you could just send through that recording, that'd be great, Frank.
I will. Also, make sure to send everybody over to GJ.
Yeah. Awesome, and great to meet everyone in the team, by the way. Yeah.
Likewise, brother. I appreciate you. We'll talk soon. See you at launch, and I'll get this right over to you. All right.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your help. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
again.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.